Good morning, campers. This is Crusader Rabbit, KBNY 5962, starting our broadcasting day. And today, for your viewer enjoyment, we're going to be making a Why I Left My Alliance video, because everybody makes a Why I Left My Alliance video. So I too wanted to make a Why I Left My Alliance video. And I just wanted to say that I left my alliance because, for nothing to do with my alliance, actually. Leaving my alliance had nothing to do with my alliance. I left the alliance because of the direction that the game went in a couple of areas. The first reason, I've decided just to play solo, and what's that thing? Infinity Dust. Okay, what's that? Armored Adventure. Ooh, how can we not do this? Okay, so basically, what was going on was that there were some changes I felt in the game for whatever reason they did, and I just really wasn't going along with it. And one of them was the change in war, and the change they made a change to war scoring, where part of the scoring for the new scoring method was that okay. Sorry, I thought we'd do something here while we're talking. So part of the reason was that when they were scoring war, they had what they called an attack bonus, and if you went and attacked a certain node in war and you got it first time, if it was a one-shot and you didn't die, then you got like a certain number of points in attack bonus. And if you died once and came back, or used one of your other champs and then got it, you got attack bonus points, but they were less. And there were kind of like 3 tiers of attack bonuses. And then if you had to go back a 4th time, then you didn't get any attack bonus points, which is okay, I guess. But what this had the effect of doing on me was that I felt what? I felt compelled. I felt like it was necessary to always win the first one. So I was spending, well, not really spending anything, but I never used boosts, and you get a lot of boosts, and so I was always boosting, and which was okay for the first few fights I was doing, but then after like 2 or 3 fights, I was also topping off my champs, because I didn't want to get into a fight. It used to be like you would like get into a war fight, and you would get into a war fight. You would you might lose, or maybe you have a champ that's like only like half or 3/4 full. You would say, well, I'll just like use this champ I'll like use them up and then take them on with the next one if that wasn't enough, or anything like that. So basically, that kind of reasoning had left with the new scoring, and I always felt the need to top off. If it wasn't like fresh out of the barn, I would always spend units like 100 units or 65 units for a 6K or 3K health pot refill to like top off the champ, so I would go into the next fight fully topped off. So I was spending like a lot of units in war, not so much with the boosting that I was doing, but with the topping off. It was kind of considerable. Kind of took me a while to get started here, huh? I was trying to organize my thoughts so I could talk. Sorry about that. So I'm trying to give you something to watch here while I ramble on. Anyway, so that was like one of the reasons. There was this change in the war, and I didn't really like the change. And another thing that was going on was the Sentinel thing. Like, the Sentinel thing kind of bothered me, taking away the symbioids and then going to the Sentinels. It's like, I don't like change. Change scares me. So I, didn't like the change in Alliance Quest, because I just wasn't as comfortable fighting the Sentinels. I got better after a while, but I wasn't as comfortable fighting the Sentinels as I was the symbioids. And let's see, what else? I guess that's basically it. There were like the changes in Alliance Quest, the changes in Alliance War, which kind of leads to the second reason of why I left my Alliance. So, because I was spending like a lot of units on topping off my tunes in war, I wasn't doing it all in questing. I would just play until all my characters were expired, and then I would just taxi. So, questing, but there were like quests where I was able to get to the end of Alliance Quest, and I still had like health on champs. So not really a big deal. But the second point is kind of like a little more personal, where I was trying to become more consistent as a player. And I was having a problem with consistency between fights. Some fights I would do excellent, and then some fights I would like totally suck. Which, if it's just me, that's okay. I can take the fact that, I'm not consistent and I suck, but I'm striving to play at like a higher level, and I wanted like more consistency. So sometimes I could take down a mini boss in war. I could like one time it. Sometimes I was doing it in Alliance Quest. I would get to like a mini boss, and I would like bring it down. I had like Star-Lord going against like a couple mini bosses, and they were like one-time kills. It's like, wow, that's really great, right? So, but then other times I would try to attack a mini boss, and I'd die 3 times. So, and it could be like the same mini boss, right? I was just like not being spooked. I need to watch what I'm doing. Oops, nope. There, okay. So that's one thing I was striving for. I was trying to better myself and become more consistent. And I was finding I was having a problem with that because the game itself was not being consistent. I felt, for me, for the device I'm using a iPad Air, and for me, on my device, this is a fighting game, and basic game controls were not working. So things like block, holding block, dash back, dash forward, these commands were not working for me sometimes. And it seemed odd because I do like a lot of, I do a lot of grinding in Versus Arena, winning 3-star champs, winning 4-star champs. So there's like a lot of grinding that I do there. Now, I was noticing that the issues that I was having came up maybe like, once every once every 10 matches or something like that, I might have, you know, one of the 3 fights in one of those matches, in 10 matches, like one of the 3 fights, I might have problems where and it seemed like to be, for that one game, it's like, you know, like dash forward just like didn't work, or dash backward just like didn't work, or I couldn't hold block. I would like break holding block and then dash forward, like almost like on autopilot, and punch the opponent. And it's like, what's going on? And then, you know, like after that, things would kind of be back to normal, and I could do like another, you know, 10 matches or something of, you know, 3 fights each, and didn't have a problem. So and that didn't bother me so much. But what bothered me is that there was almost like a level of magnitude of frequency in this occurring when you were in either Alliance Quest or Alliance War. And it seemed like, rather than being like every 30 fights, it was like every like 2 or 3 fights. Almost like every other fight or every 3rd fight, I would get in a fight and dash backward didn't work, or dash forward didn't work. You know, dash backward, I can't evade, right? Dash forward, I'm like missing, like, it's like I'm baiting out a heavy. You know, I dash back when he starts the heavy, and then, you know, I like dash forward afterward to like attack after he's like, you know, let off his heavy, and it won't dash forward. And then I'm just like standing there completely open, and then I get like pounded into oblivion. And it's like, what is going on? You know, that's just, to me, that was just like not acceptable. And it had been going on for a long time, maybe since like the 12.0 update. Seemed to be like when a lot of these bugs started coming in, and they just weren't getting fixed. And I'm not convinced that it wasn't on purpose. I mean, Kabam is putting out all this new content for people to enjoy, but they weren't fixing the bugs that were like part of the basic gameplay. This is a fighting game. You know, everything's based on the fight, and if the basic controls for fighting don't work, then the game just kind of loses its enjoyability. So what this had the effect of doing was that when you're in like Alliance War, and I felt I was taking a lot more damage in Alliance War and Alliance Quest than what I should, not necessarily related to my skill level, but related taking damage because of bugs in the game, bugs that I felt that were not getting. Oh, who is this champ? There's like a new champ here. It's Captain America, bearded Captain America. Yeah, okay. So, and it kind of had an effect on my war performance, because I would have champs that would like lose health for what I felt was not my responsibility. I didn't feel it was my bad gameplay. I felt it was like bugs in the game that were causing me to lose. Oh, I guess I have to like double that one. Oops. See that again. One, two. There, so that Captain America thing is a double dash back. Okay. So, yeah, that's basically, so I felt that, and because I had like this pressure from the change in the war scoring, I felt, oh, I've got to like top these guys off. So that was like even more units that I was spending. And I really felt that it was unfair to have me spending my own units that were earned by, you know, hard grinding out in Versus Arena. Why should I be spending those just trying to keep even because the game has bugs that they aren't willing to fix? And that's when I came to the realization that I no longer wanted to play the game at a competitive level. I didn't feel it was fair to my alliance not to be like topping off and risking that I wouldn't get the node down on the first kill because I didn't have full health. So I was like topping off even more. I was spending like a lot more units. And if I wasn't going to be doing that, because I didn't feel like I should be spending the units, because I didn't feel like it was my fault that I was like losing so much health because of all these bugs in the game, then I didn't feel that was fair to the people in the alliance. And my alliance was a great alliance, had a great bunch of guys in it and girl. And I really enjoyed being in that alliance. It was like extraordinarily lucrative. I was able to advance at a very nice pace. I was there. I had absolutely no issues with anybody in the alliance or anything they were doing or the alliance performance. It was just that I was just felt that I didn't want to play the game on a competitive level any longer while these bugs were still in the game. And that's pretty much it. That's why I left my alliance. So, phew, I've done it. Boy, that's like a load off my back. Thanks so much for listening. Hope you enjoyed the show. This is Crusader Rabbit, KBNY 5962. We're ending our broadcasting day. Good night, campers.